Someone tweeted, if you understand how oppression and intersectionality works, then look at the Black community. Yes, straight Black men are the white people of the Black community. Also, Black men acting as if they aren't privileged in a patriarchal society is propaganda.
Okay, boom.
Heavy on the last part. No bullshit.
Now that I hear it again.
They might have you there.
Are we the
I
white
understand
men
what they're
of
trying to say.
the Black community?
If you want, I mean,
Listen,
the context that they gave.
No, I don't like that. I don't like
think
that.
that is
'Cause what they're trying to
divisive.
do is equate two things that are not equal.
For sure.
Right?
I agree.
Yes, straight black men are in a better place in the caste system, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
But we're
That's
not equal to
cis-heteronormativity.
white men.
For sure.
So it's like, why are you trying to equate the two things?
Well, I
just-
think
it's
that-
not.
you
know
It's
why
a
they're
false.
trying
It's a
to
false.
do
It's divisive,
equality.
but I think that at the same time, doubling down on it, I think that it's not so much about I think that nowhere in there did they say that these two things are equal. They said that
But to say that they
within your community, this is the
They
role.
made a parallel.
Within your community, this is the role you take.
No.
Nigga, I play the role that I am. I'm a straight black man. That's just all I am.
Just like how in our society, straight white men are at the top of the hierarchy.
Yes.
Okay,
Right?
okay.
In the Black community, straight Black men are at the top of the hierarchy. It's not.
Well,
It's
why
not
are you trying to create?
equation.
Why are you trying to create something
It's
that's
not an
isolated
equation.
from reality?
It's not. That's not isolated from reality. Wait,
It is by
what do you
saying
mean
that
by
black men are the straight black men are the white men equivalent in
But
our
anyway.
community. But it's like, nigga, we exist in this bigger community. They still exist.
I hear you, but what they're saying doesn't make sense to you?
It
Yes,
makes sense.
It does not
Okay.
make sense. I'm going to
You're
say
saying
No.
it doesn't
I
make sense.
understand what they're
But I
trying.
think that's
You know what? No, I take that
It
back.
makes
It
sense.
doesn't make sense.
So it doesn't
I
make
understand
sense.
what they're saying. It doesn't make sense.
So it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense to you, but you understand what they're saying.
I understand what they're trying to say.
Does it make sense? Does it not make sense to you? And do you understand or do you not understand?
I agree with what he's saying.
So it doesn't make
point
sense,
they're
but you understand.
The point they're trying to make is
Okay.
that a straight black man would be more privileged
For sure.
based on a patriarchal system in America, right?
Yes.
But white men are oppressors. Just because straight black men are more entire
So black
marginalized
men
group.
are not oppressors, you mean?
We're being marginalized
Black
ourselves.
men
How are we
can,
oppressors? Like,
Black men cannot oppress.
They can't
Others-
oppress.
I
They
can't
can't
others,
oppress.
but it's a
They
false.
can.
It's a
They
false
can.
equivalency though, because again,
I hear you.
let's
I'm just
go
asking.
down the
I didn't
list.
tweet it. I'm
I'm
just asking.
just saying, but it
I'm
sounds
just
like you're
asking.
defending it. So
I'm not defending
He's just having a
anything.
conversation.
Literally,
He's
you
just having a
gotta be the guy
conversation.
on
He's
the
just having a
podcast who
conversation.
does.
I'm just asking questions.
Give us some thought.
I could try to
push it
try
back.
to defend the other
I
side.
said that. I understand what you're saying. I think it's divisive. I would say it a different way.
Okay, I think it's dangerous and divisive for if you look at
I understand what
all
they're saying, though.
the what am
I might go as far as to say I feel them, but I don't agree.
Yo,
I hear them.
let's if you made a list of
I might
all the
go as far as I
atrocities,
feel- I might go
if you
that
made
far.
all the list of atrocities that the white community has committed against the black community,
Mhm. and
we're-
others,
we're going to act like there's an equivalent. I understand black men have caused harm to even other people in the black community,
For sure.
whether
Yes.
it's black women,
But
whether
that
it's
also
gay,
trickles down a lot of time
people,
from
like
the reception of
trans,
what they're
all that.
experiencing above that.
but yo,
For
we're
sure.
not going to compare that to what white people did to black people.
here's what I'll say.
Yeah, facts.
Here's what I'll say. The first point that they're trying to make, I think, is divisive. I don't like that. Now, the second point that they're trying to make, the second point that they are making to me is more significant.
They
than
said
the
Read the second
also
point again.
black men acting as if they aren't privileged
Mhm.
in a patriarchal society is propaganda.
For
See,
sure.
that's 100. I agree.
I
with
agree.
that. I agree
Wait,
with that.
hold on.
I do agree with
100%.
that.
Hold on.
I will not.
Hold on.
100%.
I do agree with you 100% that we do have privilege. I think
For sure.
I don't
And
think any
acting
of
like-
us
and
in
acting
this
like
room.
you don't.
But what is the propaganda? I need them to actually.
So-
I want to understand what they meant. Like you can't just throw the word
Okay,
propaganda.
this might be the propaganda that we're doing right now. No bullshit. Whoa! Whoa.
We're spreading misinformation on purpose.
Does that make sense? Hold on a second. Hold on. Time out. Yo, this
It's
shit
like this thing.
it got meta, bro. Hold on, my brain.
Hold on.
Is this the propaganda that they speak of? Because we're saying that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. No, false equivalency.
Okay.
But we also understand what they're trying to say. We understand. No. We understand what they are saying.
We are acknowledging
I understand
their
the
points,
words.
some of their points,
I
and
I
then
understand the word.
and then we're providing
we're-
counter arguments.
Right, but we're also working to like disprove the claim by saying we're not as bad as the white man. That is very
I'm saying I'm
interesting.
not the
That's what
white
he
man.
said. Though.
No, I'm saying that if
He
you
said
want-
to compare the two is ridiculous. We're not as bad as them.
No, I'm
We've
saying
done harm, but he used that. I'm just repeating what you said.
Okay.
We've done harm within the black community, but not
But then
to that extent.
I also added on to that.
But that's not all right. But I'm not talking about
there's
your points.
There's a lot of reasons. Why don't y'all back him up? That's my man. You don't do it like that. You don't do it
But
like
what I'm
that.
saying is you might not want to though, because it might not.
I'll clarify if I need to.
So you're saying the black community,
I'm
the
saying
black
that
man has
if
done
you
bad
want
in the
to
black
address
community.
that black men have done harm, because I will agree with you on that.
For sure.
Black men have done harm, and there
Absolutely.
are ways that we can grow
Absolutely.
so that we can cause less harm to the
Always
other
room for
members of
improvement.
our society who have less privilege than us, right? I agree on that front. I think it's harmful to phrase it in a way where
For
you
sure.
make the comparison to
Okay.
the white people.
Yes.
You can say that we've
okay.
done harm and there needs to something needs to change without
For sure.
And I think
saying
that you can
something
go
as
as far.
sensational as that.
I think you can go as far as
It's
because to me, I'll say this. Now, the more I hear us speak of it,
Yes.
I agree with what they're saying. I think it makes sense.
What?
The more I hear it,
I'm
the
glad you
more
do.
I like it.
I'm glad you
bullshit.
do.
You know why? Though?
I'm glad you
What
do.
are we
Because it's like
saying?
I'm glad you do.
because I'm just imagining imagine that I said to a white person right now. Imagine I said to a white person, I'm like, yo, like, bro, you're dead my oppressor. Hold on now. Me? I might not be perfect, but I'm not those white people.
No.
I'm not
No.
my ancestors.
no.
I'm not that bad.
No,
Like
no,
to compare
don't
me
do
to
that.
them, I never enslaved
Don't do
you.
that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
It's sounding similar to that to me a little bit. And that's why I'm like, I might actually just agree. Because it sounded similar. It sounded similar to that.
What?
It is. It sounded similar. I'm not saying that it's exact, but it does
I don't
sound similar.
even
Now,
wanna
I would say,
say
now what I would say
what
is
I'm
maybe I
about to
don't
say.
agree entirely because I do still think that it's divisive. What I would say is in our community, the person
Listen,
who's at the
Nate.
top of the food chain, the
Nate,
person
Nate,
that's at the top of the patriarchal food chain is black men. Meaning that when you're talking about black women, meaning
At the top of
the black community, at the top of our
I
patriarchal.
thought you said the whole thing. I was like, what?
You didn't say the black community. You
I said
did.
within our community.
Okay,
I'm talking about the. Nigga, I'm not white. Nigga.
I was about to say.
I don't know about
I was like,
that.
nigga, what?
In the black
Yes,
community,
yes,
if that
yes,
helps.
yes.
In the black
It
community,
does.
right? We're at the top of this patriarchal food chain as black men, cis hetero black men, right?
I know that- yes,
Keep it there,
this is true.
right? Stays there for a second.
Okay.
So anytime we're making jokes about black women, anytime we got all these niggas dressing up as black women, making fun of them, and they're putting on their fucking dog and pony show with it, like do, you know what I mean? Like all them niggas are from Vine, they used to be wearing the wigs, and Tyler Perry's one of
I
them.
thought you were talking
You
about
feel
Tyler
me?
Perry the whole
And, like,
time.
all
but
this
yeah.
shit, like, that's punching down on black women.
Yes.
That is a form of systemic oppression coming to life through interpersonal interaction,
Yes. I agree.
Right?
I agree.
right? Okay. So if someone were to say that the black man, cis hetero black man, takes on a similar role in our community
But here's what I
as the
say to
white
that.
man overall, or as white people in our general society, I understand.
Hear me
I
out,
agree.
right? Hear me
but
out.
that's not what they said.
Okay.
Hear me
They
out.
didn't say similar. They said you are the white man of
Yes,
this
yes.
community. To me, semantics, nigga, that shit's facts. I agree, but I wouldn't say it like that.
You
To
are
avoid the
white
disagreement, to avoid the argument.
So let's say this.
You take on a similar role as the white people in our community based on where you are in the patriarchal society and based on your actions. That's valid?
No.
Why?
Nah, bro. Because
Okay.
again, like
Like-
I need to come up with a different.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm kind of with you though. And
Like
this is
I
where I'm
hear,
ki-
again,
no,
I
this is where
hear
I'm
what
kinda
is
with you.
being said.
I'm
The
kind of with them with
propaganda
the
a
fact
little
that it would be continuing on harm if we took this tweet and we spent the time on the podcast to talk about it and we only brought up the tweet in order to bash the person on how they worded it. Because we can also ignore this. We can say, hey, we disagree with how this was worded, but let's actually like get to the meat and potatoes
Unpack
of what
it.
they're
Yeah.
saying because there's something valid here, right?
No bullshit.
And then maybe this is a more transformational conversation, not to get stuck on how it was worded because I stand on it. That was very that's very divisive. But
I agree.
let's have that conversation. Maybe
So what-
maybe
So
helps
where-
have that
Where are
conversation.
the areas for improvement amongst black men in the community? How do we make it so that our presence is not instead?
Well, I think it starts with healing. I think a lot of
That's-
black.
a black man would say that.
That was hard to be thought about. I was like creating safer
That's-
spaces for women.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm not even
Nigga
talking about
said
that.
he's
side.
talking about healing for ourselves type shit. Yeah, that's what you would
Not
say.
even.
You're not wrong, but that's what a nigga would
No, but
say.
like, real shit.
Oh, you want me to help
No,
you? I got
listen.
folks on me, gang. I gotta
no,
do
no,
me
no,
first.
no, but hear me out.
Yeah, that's
I love
what
Hear
it
me
is.
out. Hear me out. Because the reason why I even say that if you look at a lot of reasons why, I guess you
No.
could say the relationship between a black man and woman is, I guess you could say like tainted, right?
Mhm.
Comes down from a lot of the trickling down from the white man oppressing the black man.
Sure, and systemic oppression.
You feel
at
me?
that.
Like,
bullshit.
You look at
Why
so
is the
many.
black household? Why did the black household fall apart after being so
Exactly.
economically standard
Exactly.
and economically
And
uplifted?
that's my point.
In
And
the,
like-
in the 60s and 70s, they tore us down then with housing. Then 80s was crack. You know what I'm
Drug
saying? And
laws,
incarceration.
crime
Right.
You
laws,
feel me? To
all
make sure
that.
that our families would maintain instability to continue to tear us apart, so that we would learn
Exactly.
to hate each other even deeper.
Exactly.
Because it was already there. Don't get me wrong. Because how do black men learn to love black women? We see what we see on TV. We see what we see in the media. We see what we see in
Right.
engagement, and we see white men treating their women poorly. We see white men oppressing us. We see that, so we gonna do the same. That's
Same
how.
shit.
That's what it looks like. So
Same
we gonna
shit.
do the same because we don't have the examples in the household because our culture is being diluted. You know what I'm saying? So we do what we've seen. So I agree with you in that end. At the same time,
Where's
there's
the
other.
accountability?
But then I
There's
also
other
that's
stuff
the
we can
other
do.
side of it.
No
That is the
bullshit.
other side of it. That don't think either of those, because like everything's a choice.
For sure.
You feel me? Like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, well, because we went through this, this is why we are the way now.
Exactly.
No, we have a choice to just not follow up with that kind of behavior.
Right.
Sure.
But at the same time, we have to acknowledge where that does come from to then say, why are you trying to say that we are the issue and it's not the white man?
I
This
don't
is
think
where it all
that's. But I
stems
don't
down
hear that
from.
that's what they're saying though. I don't
But
hear.
they're trying, like I said, they're
No.
trying to isolate it.
No.
They're isolating.
I feel like you're interpreting it as that because you're hurt.
Why would I be hurt?
You tell me, nigga. You the one that making it seem like you don't like what they said.
I don't think what
I
they're
read
saying.
that and I did
is-
not-
I
the
don't
first
think what
thing
they're saying is just equivalent.
I hear you, but there's nowhere where they're saying it's an equivalent though. You're interpreting it as
No,
that.
it's a
They're-
metaphor, bro.
It's a metaphor.
Okay,
They're
a metaphor.
placing one thing into position of the other.
It's a just like when you say
So
when you
therefore,
say
you're trying to
a
equate the
metaphor.
two.
It's not an equation though. Nigga, a
You're
metaphor
saying-
is literally just saying
it's
this
literally-
thing is this thing, but you're not saying. But you know that they're not the same
No,
thing,
they're creating a variable.
right? But they're not exactly the same.
So it's a placeholder. They're literally saying you're taking place of this.
Right, which I feel like it's not taking place either. I wouldn't even say. I would say that in your community, you take on this role. And I think that's true. Because like we already talked about it on like a factual level, it's a patriarchy, right? And it's based on cis heteronormativity. Well, then that means the men who are cis, right? And that are heterosexual will take
Mhm.
on that role.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of you're white or black. But if you're talking about the black community, then yeah, you take on that role amongst black people. The only issue is that you're a microcosm of the entire society. So of course there's gonna be someone above you because you're not the alpha dog in this situation. But I never looked at it as like saying, hey, you are white men. Because that's not
I'm
what
not
they're
taking it literal.
right, not literally, but you're saying it's an equation. You're saying you are taking it literally.
I thought we got past that though. I thought like let's not get
But I'm
lost
saying-
in the semantics.
I
and
hear you,
let's,
but I'm
let's
saying the
address the bigger issue.
But I'm saying that the interpretation, my interpretation of it and your interpretation of it and your interpretation, all of us have varying like perspectives on it,
Naturally.
right?
But do we
But
all agree
but we
that?
all understand what they're trying to say.
Yes.
Do we all
And so
agree?
because of that, when we're thinking about how we move forward, right, and what
Mhm.
we need to do, to me, I'm not even thinking about white people right now. I think that is an issue in that if we're looking to dismantle, we want to change overall, we got to dismantle the system. We got to tear this apart for sure.
Okay.
But that's not that's to me is not what we can do right now.
But then here's the other side of it, right? So what do we do about it?
Like I
Yeah,
said,
that's the
That's what we're
conversation
saying.
we
No,
had
no,
right
no,
now.
no. Because then, right? Let's say we try to present something. It's like, why are you trying to fix the problem? These are my issues.
Who would say
who
that?
says
No,
that?
I'm saying, what
who's
if you're
gonna say
presented with
that?
that?
Wait,
If we're not-
who would
who-
present that to you in
If we're
your
we're
scenario?
talking about this imaginary person who tweeted it, right?
Okay,
I don't think I'm in a position to present a solution to the problem. So
Why?
why are you?
you're the problem.
I understand that, right? But I'm not going to try to find a solution if I'm the problem. Tell me what
What?
I should change.
See, that's the problem, right? there.
How's that the problem?
Because, bro,
'Cause
sometimes the
if,
people
if
that
I
are
step
causing
in
the
and say,
issues,
"Oh, I'm gonna change this, I'm gonna do this," it's like, yo, I don't even know what you're actually experiencing.
sometimes the people that are causing the issues, the first step, maybe it's the first thing they need to do is understand why they're causing the problem and then figure out how to navigate from there accordingly. How are you going to say that it's not my problem to fix, it's their problem? What if I met with
I'm not
that?
saying it's not my
No,
problem.
I'm not
to fix.
saying that.
I'm
I'm
not
saying-
gonna come up with a solution.
How are you saying that you're not going to come up with a solution to a problem that you're causing or that you're at the crux of, you're at the center of,
Yeah.
when you can just ask, what can I do?
But that's what I'm asking.
But I'm saying,
What do you want us to do?
But they've told
I'm
us.
asking, what do you
No,
want
no,
us
no,
to
I'm
do?
saying-
Ease. Forget the person who tweeted this. At this point,
I'm not even holding on to
we
this.
have to,
I'm saying, what
we have
do
to
we
use
do?
our own lived
Facts.
experiences to understand. We
I was gonna say
understand.
we be around black women, we be around black trans people. We know
I don't
people.
even think it's about black women anymore. I think it's just about how do black men improve? How do we be better people?
No. But the thing
I feel
is,
like it's
the
about
reason
the-
they're
it's
making
within
this
the
tweet
community,
is
though.
because they're not talking about the harm that black men do to other black men. They're talking specifically about
That is also
what-
an issue though.
I understand, but that's not
the
what they're
issue that
talking
they're.
about.
I understand
they're
that,
talking
but I think it's
they're
all
talking about
connected.
how black men
I do think
treat
it's all
black women,
connected.
the
For
harm
sure.
they cause black women, the harm they cause black gays, the harm they cause
Yes.
black trans people.
Because we're talking about
But that-
patriarchy.
I understand that.
You know what I'm saying? So like, how do we as black people, how do we as black men specifically do better? We got to listen to them. And what they've been telling us, what people have constantly told us, right, is that to be a protector, to be someone that's in these positions where you're working to protect whatever, you got to be able to put your life on the line for other people because you recognize that you're privileged. You got to use your privilege to protect others.